Hello, friends. I am here today to talk about something that I think is going to be especially important to those who have menstrual cycles. Okay, so I just want to preface this video that is going to be something that we talk about here. But I think that there may be, how do I explain this in a way that is easy to understand before I dive deeper? I think that there may be some things that have blocked us from really understanding the nature of our self, our somatic system, like our somatic awareness. That's kind of your ability to not only recognize but understand the sensations and responses in your body that are linked to your emotions, your thoughts, to different experiences. It's like tuning into the messages your body's trying to send you. And I think it's very interesting that for such a long time, something that is very natural to the typical, I don't know the proper terminology anymore, but something that's very normal, okay, in a woman's body has been deemed icky, you know? Um, and if it wasn't deemed icky, like, oh, don't talk about that, or ew, that thing happens every month, ew, gross. Um, well, then if not, it was just kind of like at least a taboo subject that they who don't have cycles are not supposed to mention to us because typically they do it derogatorily, right? They're like, oh, what are you on your period? And so whether it's us talking about it or other people knowing about it, it's just this really weird subject that we're not allowed to discuss. And I think that that has played a really big role in our ability to be aware of ourselves because it's not even like to understand my point, you're going to have to admit that you're moody around your cycle or something. It's like, that's not really the point of this. The point is to say, there is a beautiful cycle in us that's happening throughout many of the years of our lives where our body resets, where our hormones have this ebb and flow. And if we're able to understand on a deeper level what's happening, why it's happening, the benefits, the different struggles, then I think that it's a lot easier for us to be attuned to our bodies. But if we've been taught that this thing that is one of the most natural things about us, like it's how we are able to reproduce and there's so many things kind of attached to it, I think that that will and inevitably has already spread into other areas of our awareness. And so the first level of awareness, I think that the average divine feminine needs to kind of check in and just see, hey, how am I doing? Is what is your relationship with your cycle? What is your relationship with your cycle where other people are concerned? Is it one of openness, denial, extremes on one side or the other? Was it something that you were taught about? Was it something that was spoken of, or it was okay to be open about, but not necessarily like a deeper understanding? Like, I think that there's so many different experiences where that's concerned, which is another reason that it's probably hard for all of us to be interacting and not really know what's okay to say and what's not okay to say. But I think if we examine how this has played a role in our understanding of self, as well as what might have been maybe leading us to people pleasing, what might have led us to even having to manipulate, or whatever, so that we could get the treatment that we needed or deserved, or it's like not being able to just be authentic and go with the flow of our flow is the first stopping point. I think after that, then we can step out of just the feminine and into the humanity. And that is where the somatic awareness is so important. And I think that for twin flames and separation, somatic imbalances, they have a habit of creating really messed up cycles where we're messed up kind of emotionally, and then that leads to us feeling kind of messed up physically, which leads to us feeling messed up emotionally. And we go through this thing where we end up kind of in a space of adrenal fatigue. It's like we're so stressed all the time, especially, again, especially people who are on the twin flame journey and who have been seeking information but not necessarily getting it. I don't know, it just makes us really, really responsive, like to any little thing, because we're just trying to release this feeling, this tension that's inside of us. And I do think it's really important to consider what you might know about your body's regulation systems. What do you know about all the systems of your body? But what do you know about the one that helps you process your emotions and your experiences, whether that means, processing it well or becoming overwhelmed, right? How has that affected your journey? I don't want to say that our cycle would have as much of effect on the journey. I think actually our adrenals probably have more more to do with how we feel on a day to day. But I think our cycles are a great example of how certain things, this goes back to my conversations lately about poisoning the well. It's like I'm not even going to go to that well for water because I know the water is bitter. So I'm not even going to think about my cycle, whether it's because someone has accused me of always being on my period, so now I'm like, that's not a thing, that's never happened to me, or whatever, in defensiveness. Or the opposite extreme is even just kind of blaming things, right? On, oh, it's my period's coming, or I'm ovulating, or whatever. I don't know. But not really knowing, like, what do I even mean by that? Like, what's actually happening inside me? And so I just think it's very important for us to reflect on these things as divine feminines, that for a very long time, we've lived in a society that asked us to be invisible and that said anything that made our masculine counterparts uncomfortable or made them feel gross or just they didn't know how to deal with it, that it was often, in being misunderstood, also mishandled, meaning we were mishandled. And now we are coming into our freedom as feminine beings. We are coming into our ascension as higher level feminines. And it's so important not to ignore the fact that we have these systems in our body that could betray us if we don't understand them. If we've been trained to believe left is right and up is down and all of that. And so I did want to bring this up for divine feminines who are on the twin flame journey and who are also not, right? But maybe you're on some sort of relationship journey that's been a little bit of a struggle. I think it is so important for all of us to sit back and be able to say, today was a tough day. Maybe I should try to examine why. Was today really a fully tough day, or was it a bad moment that I stretched? And if today was really just maybe one of those like worst day of my life, kind of worst days, what was it that happened? How did I respond? Am I feeling worse or better because of some other circumstances? Because the truth is, our awareness of where we might be in our hormonal cycle or even our somatic space and somatic self, that's just a couple things that are kind of like underlying that we might not necessarily be privy to. We might not be able to see it as clearly, but there's other stuff out there that is very clear, but sometimes we might make some stuff bigger than it is or some stuff smaller than it is. And I think that our hormones and our somatic imbalance actually can contribute to that even more, and we may never know it's happening. There are many divine feminines that I have spoken to around the world who, when I ask them about what's been going on, if they're having one of those days where it's like, I'm in a panic, it's been leading to this, I've been trying to fight it off, and now I'm here, and here's what I think it is. Most of the time, it's not the thing they think it is. Most of the time, it's something they've been avoiding, something that they hadn't even considered. And usually it's not actually something like bad is happening that day. It's that maybe they didn't take the time to heal from something that happened before. Maybe they thought that they did and it came back up, but they told themselves, oh, I don't feel anything about this, which obviously wasn't true. But now their head and their heart are wrestling, and then their soul is in the middle, like, what are we going to do, guys? So I just think it's important to reflect on this a little bit. And I would love to hear from those of you who have kind of gone through your own journeys where it comes to your body, mind, spirit connection, and what you've learned. If there's anything that you can share, even about your hormonal cycle. I know I have clients of all ages as well. So if you can share anything, like I just found out that Perry is much longer than I thought. And no one in my family ever really talked about it. I just know I'm going to be really hot, like it's like I would love for us to be able to have those maiden mother crone moments, the feminine archetypes all coming together to say, here's what I know, here's what I've learned, here are my questions, and here's where I think that, you know what, this has contributed to some things in my life, but here's also maybe some areas where I've noticed that I might use it as an excuse, or where other people have, put that onto me, but it's not really true. So let me warn you about this. I think that this is such an open, broad conversation, and I would just love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, and any wisdom that you have to share. All right, my lovelies, I will talk to you soon. I love you. Peace.